Hey everyone, this is Sophia and welcome to a new video. Today we're talking about my luxury handbag collection as well as what's next on my luxury handbag wish list. It's funny because I'm actually thinking of downsizing, but when I look at my collection, I'm like, there's only one piece that I would potentially get rid of, and I'll definitely share more about why. When I was collecting my bags around the apartment, I was like, is this really all? Which made me feel better because I thought I had more. But then when I really think about it, I have a lot of like mid-range bags more than I think luxury. And so if you're interested in that video, please let me know by either liking this video or sharing it in the comments. Let's talk about from most to least used, because I think the most aren't going to be surprising to anyone, but the least might be. The first most used handbag is obviously my Louis Vuitton Yayoi Kusama Keepall 25. Let me turn tutorial around. This is really a no-brainer. I am actually surprised how much I use this, but at the same time it's not that surprising because if you haven't seen the unboxing, I'll definitely leave a link up there. When I first unboxed it, my first impression was how spacious it is, and even with the insert I bought for it, which you would have seen if you watched my review of it, which if you haven't, I'll also link up there. Even with the felt insert, you can fit so much, and most of the times it's rarely even full. I think the only times when it's like been full where I literally cannot fit anymore is when I'm traveling, when I'm in Japan and I'm carrying a lot of like knickknacks. It's just super convenient. I know this is technically a men's bag, but to be honest, I don't think the ladies one is worth as much as this one because the capacity is insane. Okay, my second most used is a year old in my collection, and that is, I still have it in this dust bag, let's take the dust bag off, my Celine Eloise. So yeah, this is definitely my second most used handbag just because it's so versatile. I can fit everything I need in it, if not a little bit more. The long handles make it super convenient and comfortable to carry on your shoulder. I really have very few negative things to say about it. I know in my, I think, 6-month review video, I forget what I titled it, but someone recently asked me if I'm still using this bag, and the answer is yes. Especially in the wintertime when I'm wearing my thick coats, this bag is super handy. I also haven't figured out the best way to store it. So right now, I think part of the reason why it's losing its shape at the bottom of it is because I just put it on the ground. My third most used is my Hermes Mini Evelyne. The reason why this is my third most used is actually because I baby a little bit more compared to the first two. Because of the leather, I don't wear this when the weather is going to be rainy or even cloudy. It makes me nervous. But when it's sunny, and I don't need to carry a lot of things, or I don't want to feel really bulky or tied down, this is the bag I reach for because it does fit my bare essentials. And you know, if you're able to get like any of those like little mini keychains of little bags, you can even fit a little bit more. Color is stunning. I actually want to get the matching belt because I really love this shade of brown. Actually, I don't think the camera is doing it justice. It's still so soft after all these years and really love it. I think the only thing that bothers me is that the dust bag is unable to close all the way on top of it. Now we're on to the second half of this video, which is my least used bags. First least used bag is probably this. This is the Bottega large Campana, the vintage version. The leather is amazing. I love the brown. I love the spaciousness of it. There's like, you really can fit everything under the kitchen sink. Honestly, you can just use that as a regular tote. My issue with this, and this is unanticipated because when I was looking into getting a vintage Bottega, I thought this wouldn't be an issue, but the double handles slide off my shoulders really easily. Like right now, obviously it's not that helpful, but if I'm walking around, sometimes like one will just slide off and that bugs me. But at the same time, for the price that I paid for it and for the price that it's on the market right now, I go back and forth about whether or not to get rid of it. In fact, I actually bought the Celine Eloise to replace this because I realized that my bag collection required a big bag energy, and this was it, but it also had issues I didn't like about it. But I still obviously haven't gotten rid of it yet because I'm just like, right now, Bottega Veneta new prices are ridiculous, and even vintage, they're getting up there. And so for the price I had paid for this condition and this color, I just like, something is holding me back. The second to last used bag in my collection is this vintage piece from Prada. Look at this beauty. I will never ever get rid of this bag because it was a treasure find. So the reason why this is my second to least used bag is actually because, first of all, it's essentially an evening bag, but it can fit a decent amount. For most evening bags, my pet peeve is that it cannot fit a lot, and I'm one of those people that I need my bare essentials. Like I cannot just walk out of the house with my phone and a credit card. Also, the handle is actually a really great drop length, so it feels really comfortable on the shoulder and under the armpit. The reason why I haven't worn this much isn't actually because I don't have anywhere to go in the evening, because before I would just wear this out willy-nilly. It's actually because it's the flap right here. I don't know if you can see that. The flap right here is actually, the piping has actually been rubbed off. And so I actually need to find time to send this off to repair before I feel comfortable using it again, because I just want to make sure that as I'm wearing it, it's not going to fall apart. My least used handbag is kind of a bummer, but I also don't feel like I can ever get rid of it. And that is my, I don't know if it's vintage yet, but it is my Chanel Diana reissue, I think. It has like the pocket in the back. This is not the vintage Diana that you see on the market because it's a little different and it's a little bigger. But this is my first designer handbag ever. There's no way I can afford current Chanel prices. And the pocket behind is actually also really, really decent size. Do I still have, oh my God, I still have something in here. The flap is super, super generous for this one compared to the classic flap. And I love that it's a dual handle. And I love that one of the handles has this leather strap. The reason why it's my least used is because it is lambskin and I do baby it quite a bit. The problem is it's very similar to my Hermes Evelyne, which is I have to be really, really cognizant of the weather, even more than the Evelyne. And for me, it's also about like the hassle almost. I have to feel like in the mood to be wearing a Chanel bag. This is my least used, but one of my most beloved and really, really sentimental. That is basically my handbag collection. Okay, so different outfit and a slightly different background. And it's because while I was editing this portion of the video, I realized that I left off quite a few bags that I have had my eye on. And so I'm just going to refilm this because I want it to be kind of an accurate portrayal of what I'm actually thinking about. So here are all the bags that I'm keeping an eye on and are potentially going to get in 2025. Not all of them, obviously, but just a few. So the first one is one that I've been talking about for a really long time, and that is the small Celine Eloise. And that is just because I really love my medium, but I don't necessarily think it's a bag that I would feel comfortable traveling with because it can get a little heavy and it's on the bigger side, and I'm kind of one of those people that I prefer to be comfortable with like a crossbody when I'm traveling. And so I feel like the small Eloise really is the perfect in-between bag because of the two straps. I can wear it crossbody during the day, and then if I'm going out at night, I can put it on my shoulder and have it be a little bit more evening. I would also get the small one in a leather because I actually originally wanted the medium in the leather. I'm glad I didn't get the medium in leather because that would have been a little bit on the heavier side on its own, even without anything in it. But I feel like for the small one, I can get away with having the leather version because it already just won't be as heavy since it's not as big. I have yet to have tried this bag on, so that is my #1 goal in 2025 is to try it on. The second and third bag are both from Loewe. So the first is the slit pochette in raffia, and to be honest, I've had my eye on Loewe raffia for a really long time because I feel like their raffia is on the softer side compared to other brands. And originally I was looking at the Loewe one where it's got like the string tie at the top, but my problem with that and the reason why I never pulled the trigger is because I don't like that there's no lining in that bag. But when I did see they came out with the slit pochette, I was like, ding, ding, ding. This is exactly what I want because not only does it have a zipper, it's fully lined, it's just as spacious as the one I was looking at. That is a bag that I'm looking to get in the summer because right now it's not completely expensive yet. Fingers crossed I'm able to cross that off my list this year. The second Loewe bag is the flamenco purse in any color. So I've never been a fan of the flamenco because I hated the way it was structured with the drawstring and then the extra bits of leather at the top that stuck out. But when they came out with the flamenco purse, I was like, okay, now I can see why people like it and now I can get into it. I would want to get the flamenco purse in a darker leather but in a different color. So this is one of those bags where I would rather get a color as opposed to a neutral. The last two bags are both from Goyard. The first Goyard bag that I have my eye on is the Alpen mini backpack, and the reason why I have my eye on that is because the cover of the backpack is one big leather strip. So already that's way less monogram than like other backpacks that are monogrammed. And the other thing is I just really like the size of it, and it also feels very spacious. And then the last Goyard bag is the Cap Vert PM. This is essentially just a camera bag, but something about it I just keep going back to it, and it's really hard to explain why. I just feel like for the size, it's the perfect amount of Goyard print for me to accept. It also just looks extremely spacious and very comfortable to wear for a long time. This is one of those bags that I would definitely get it in a color. Like I would never just get it in a boring black or brown. Like I would want it in like a yellow or the bright blue or the green. I just feel like the Goyard print in a color is just way prettier than just the regular neutral Goyard prints. Those are the bags I'm interested in getting. If you have any of them and have any thoughts on them, please let me know. I would love to know your pros, cons, or whatever thoughts you have on those bags that I mentioned, just to kind of help me decide which one I should attempt to look into more or get in 2025. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about any of the handbags that I mentioned earlier in this video, please let me know and I'll be sure to answer you. And hopefully I'll see you next time for another one. Bye guys.